Because he always was that accurate when defending.
I think it's like
People deluded are back again. Now, if you're like myself as a fan of football, or specifically the club I support, and I'm wearing the shirt Arsenal, you're desperately trying to, you know, stay away from the transfer news, but you can't help but be dragged in. So let's do exactly that and go through exactly everything. Don't forget, people, to let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button and subscribe and turn on your notifications if you haven't already. Allegedly, West Ham have rejected Arsenal's opening bid for Declan Rice, thought to be worth 80 million plus add-ons. The Gunners' opening offer would have been paid in slow installments with a lot of tough contingencies attached to it. West Ham's valuation of Rice remains 120 million, but it's understood the club will accept 100 million plus a player. What I would say for dismayed Arsenal fans and fans that are just wishing we hurry up and get this over the line, typically, you know, we know this is football. You place a bid, it gets rejected, and hopefully there's a resolution. It kind of feels like the Mudryk deal in that when it comes to these high profile sort of cases, Arsenal obviously have a lot of money. Our owner's rich. Not that I'm pocket watching. Obviously, we're back in the Champions League. And even without Champions League football, I know in comparison to some of our peers for the top six, it's difficult to spend what they're spending, but we have spent money. I say that because clearly West Ham are not happy with probably the way we're formatting this deal in terms of when they're actually going to get paid and actually what you're relying on. Naturally, you'd imagine in that deal, there's probably clauses if Arsenal continue to qualify for the Champions League, potentially win trophies attached to the club, and depending on what Declan Rice does as an individual, it could be appearances, it could be a certain amount of England caps, could be several things. Arsenal are expected to return with a new offer in the coming days, but they'll have to improve the value and structure of their bid significantly if they want to sign the player. Manchester City are also keeping an eye on Rice's situation. Whenever you hear City or Chelsea, you start getting a bit scared, but they haven't placed a bid, so maybe they're just waiting to see how it plays out with Arsenal potentially, which the ramifications of this Declan Rice deal in hindsight probably has made Tony Bloom, the Brighton gaffer, the Brighton owner, whether Caicedo expected, like I've been saying in my videos, goes to Chelsea or anywhere else, he's probably saying whether it's not about ability, people, but he's probably sitting there saying, well, you know, Arsenal are spending over 100 million on Rice. Jude Bellingham went for big money. Let's see what we can get for Caicedo, despite the fact that he's only made 40 odd appearances around that region for Brighton. But we'll get on to Caicedo, people. I digress. In relation to Declan Rice, the Guardian has had something, and we're going to get into that. But the Daily Mail was saying Arsenal are making an improved £100 million with for Declan Rice after seeing the first offer rejected by West Ham. But payment structure remains number one issue as City, United, and Chelsea watch with interest. Arsenal saw their opening bid of 80 million plus add-ons rejected this week. The Gunners remain confident of doing a deal, though must agree full terms. We can be as confident as we like, bordering on arrogance. Declan Rice can want to join us as much as he likes. We could want to introduce him to our squad with Mikel Arteta as much as we like. Until you agree something with his club, he can't make no progress in this deal, and ultimately we can't sign the individual. Arsenal are making an improved offer of 100 million for Declan Rice after obviously seeing our first bid rejected. The Gunners have seen their original offer worth 90 million for the Hammers skipper turned down, but allegedly a new package is imminent. The rejected bid was worth 80 million plus an extra 10 million in performance related add-ons. The new offer is expected to guarantee West Ham in the region of 90 million plus extra payments that will take the total deal to 100 million. Now, if you're West Ham, you're probably in no hurry to get this deal done. Maybe on an angle that the quicker we can guarantee some money, the quicker we can spend and not be in a relegation battle. And, you know, credit to West Ham, they won the Conference League, they're in the Europa League. I'm sure they would want to win some more trophies. Once you get a taste of trophies and success, it's difficult to go back. But they could say, you know what, if City are sniffing around, if Bayern are sniffing around, we'll play the market. We got to remember the market officially is just opened and we're only in June. I'm sure Declan wants a quick resolution over his future because he's going to keep being asked about it wherever he goes, even down to when he's out with his family in the street. But if I was West Ham, you got to get a move on, but you probably can play into the timing aspect because Arsenal have to be getting giggity. You know, it looks like we're stepping away from Kaisedo. If we don't get Declan Rice, there has to be a reality where there's a contingency plan if we don't get our top targets, but it doesn't look good, people. They want 100 million. They're guaranteed 90 million. Surely there's some sort of compromisation done between the two parties. However, sources were indicating on Thursday that the total value of the bid isn't the only remaining issue that requires iron out before Rice can complete his move to the Emirates, if he completes his move. Last week, it was revealed West Ham want the guaranteed part of the money for Rice to be paid in 2 installments before 2025. So you've got 2 years or just slightly under that to run them their money. It's understood the payment structure Arsenal proposed does not suit West Ham, with the Gunners looking to pay the money over a longer period of time, probably trying to make our budget stretch that much more. It's also understood that Arsenal are willing to give West Ham first refusal on outgoing players this summer. As you know, West Ham have shown an interest in Eddie Nketiah in the past. I mean, if they want Lokonga, if they want Lokonga, Tavares, Cedric, I think these players are amazing. West Ham. Obviously, maybe that means where the Balligans, the Eddie Nketiahs, potentially Smith Rowe, maybe even Kieran Tierney are concerned, you probably West Ham be given first refusal, but that's dead, really and truly. It just means that you'll let us know if the player is departing, and you might even give us the option of, allowing us first dibs to talk to the player. But if you're West Ham, you don't want that. West Ham are fully right to want guaranteed money and things, really. If you think about it logically, if you're selling Declan Rice, you don't want to really see this money if Arsenal achieve Premier League success or Champions League, etc. You want your guaranteed payments, because as much as they're fond of Declan and he be attached to West Ham history, they don't really care what he does beyond that, really and truly. So it comes with the territory. Arsenal finished second. There's obviously prize money. We've got the Champions League. Our resources are being kind of sorted out. And obviously we've given plush new contracts to Saliba, Saka, Martinelli, Reece Nelson. And we're in talks to allegedly do that with Odegaard and Benjamin White. As I said, when you look at the Declan Rice deal, where you can see actually on the Daily Mail there, and you look at some of the other fees, and Arsenal maybe even showing their hand with what they bidded in January for Caicedo of 75 million, West Ham might sit there and say, you know what, you wanted Caicedo. He's made 40-odd appearances for Brighton. He ain't done that much in the game more than Declan Rice. And he has played for his country, but Declan Rice plays a key part for club and country, won a trophy, played over 200 times for West Ham, has to be close in over 100 conservative guests in the Premier League. Why can't you put an extra bob on that and give us Declan Rice? As you know, English as well, 24 years of age. Not that Caicedo's older than him, but you get the point. While Arsenal remain confident they'll complete a deal for number one target Rice, their urgency to strike a deal has accelerated as it has emerged Man City have an interest in the England midfielder and are considering a bid. Sources have indicated that City's interest is not as advanced as Arsenal's. Manchester United and Chelsea also have an interest. The mounting interest in the midfielder obviously is going to suit David Solomon, who showed a hand of his own. Sullivan, showed a hand of his own by, confirming Declan Rice may very well have played his last game for the football club in the final. Now, obviously, August is the start of the Premier League season. West Ham, he's still contracted to take part in their pre-season and play any game selected. I'm sure nobody wants this to rumble on into the season. It's June, it starts in August, but we'll have to see how that develops. Let's see what the Guardian have said. Arsenal make new Declan Rice offer after West Ham reject initial 80 million. Apparently he wants Arsenal move and is likely to end up there. West Ham expects City to enter the running, people. We'll do that later. Apparently, scrolling through some of the things, people, we all know he wants to join the team allegedly, and we would like him. West Ham are holding out for a record fee for Rice and intend to reject bids under 100 million. They want Arsenal to hit that figure and include add-ons. Arsenal's first proposal was spread over a number of years and contains add-ons that West Ham regarded as unrealistic. West Ham would prefer fewer installments because it would obviously boost their financial position. There's a feeling there that Arsenal's second proposal will still contain add-ons that are unlikely to be triggered. West Ham's hand would be strengthened by a bidding war. A source predicted that an offer from City would blow Arsenal out of the water. Rice spoke to Pep before the end of the season, and the prospect of City entering the race could complicate matters for Arteta. Obviously, Rodri's played a lot of football. I'm sure they want a player to rival and be played instead of him. Declan Rice, in my opinion, would be silly to not listen to Pep Guardiola and what City are going for. And City every year, a bunch of players, the Gundogan's, the Cancelos, the Laportes, who's been linked with Chelsea and Spurs, the Bernardo Silvas, they're always linked with moves away. Despite the growing tension between Arsenal and West Ham, the likelihood is that Rice will make the switch. He admires Arteta's style of football and there will be no issue over personal terms. Another factor is that Rice, who became a father last year, would prefer to stay in London and be close to his family. He also knows that he would be a regular starter at Arsenal, whereas the competition for places at City would be much fiercer. Ultimately, there's confidence that negotiations will end up with Arsenal paying a fee that could top 100 million once add-ons are taken into an account. An indication of confidence in striking a deal with West Ham is that they are believed to have withdrawn their interest in Brighton and Hove Albion midfielder Kaisedo, who is obviously a key target for Chelsea. Arsenal are still trying to sign Chelsea forward Kai Havertz, as you lot know, people. So we'll have to see. Let's see what else is being said. Reports from a media company in Ecuador. I said Kai Havertz has said yes to Arsenal, and with this, the Ecuadorian has ceased to be a priority for the Gunners, despite the fact that the player had already arranged personal terms and he wanted to play Champions League football. Arsenal wants Declan Rice, as we know, so Caicedo might have been something we would have looked to do if we could, but it appears we've pulled out of the runnings. Apparently, Chelsea are in negotiations with him, and this article said Caicedo is actually discussing personal terms. With Arsenal pursuing a move for Havertz, Caicedo is no longer a priority, despite the fact Caicedo had already agreed personal terms and wanted to join the club. Allegedly, Chelsea need to sell players to help balance the books and are in the race to offload players before the 30th of June, so sales can be included in their financial accounts for 2022-23. Arsenal hope that pressure will force Chelsea to soften their stance over the valuation of Kai Havertz. Two more top clubs are expected to bid for Declan Rice in the next 24 hours after an opening offer from Arsenal was rejected. It's unclear who the clubs that West Ham expect to make an offer are. It could be anyone. Chelsea are pushing to seal 80 million signing of Caicedo from Brighton, with the Ecuadorian keen on a move to Stamford Bridge and the Blues players potentially moving the other way in the deal. That could be Cole, that could be Gallagher. You know, some would say we're helping Chelsea fund this move, really and truly. I guess it just shows that Arsenal's transfer kitty doesn't quite extend that as far as we want, but I'll offer some more opinions at the end. Let's see what this article is saying. Allegedly, talks have been ongoing for weeks, people, with Chelsea, but with Bayern Munich in the wings, Caicedo has indicated he would like to join Chelsea. Different Chelsea players have been proposed in discussions. Brighton want Levi Colwill and had a £30 million offer rejected. I mean, you hold Arsenal and Chelsea, rightly so, to ransom, and then one of the best young English left-sided centre-backs who's going to have a great career at club and country, you're bidding 30 million. Brighton are bullying the thing, really and truly. Allegedly, Chelsea have gone back for Caicedo after PSG beat them to the signing of Ugarte. Such so, people, it obviously has a knock-on effect. Arsenal and Man United have previously shown an interest in the Seagulls midfielder. So, yeah, Chelsea are hopeful he'll sign for the football club, people, and have offered a bunch of players. Again, apparently he's informed Bayern Munich he wishes to continue playing in the Premier League. Secret Scout is saying that, you know, Brighton actually want over 100 million for Caicedo, people. I know they want 100 million for Caicedo. If a player goes in the other direction, of course, it will go under 100 million. Fabrizio has said Chelsea and Caicedo working behind the scenes since long time, more than 1 month. There's still work to do step by step. Chelsea are working hard on the Caicedo deal. Talks have been taking place for weeks, nothing done yet. It's always been Chelsea front runners, despite rumours of Arsenal bid in the last few weeks. Arsenal remain focused on Kai Havertz and Declan Rice, folks. An indication of Arsenal's confidence in striking a deal with West Ham for Declan Rice is that they are believed to have withdrawn their interest in Caicedo once again, who is a key target for Chelsea. Arsenal are also trying to sign the Chelsea forward Kai Havertz. Chelsea will certainly have to pay well over 80 million to land Caicedo, which has been made clear in all the reports. Tony Bloom is understood to value him as high as 120 million. Chelsea prepared to offer players once again, including Gallagher. Gary Jacobs of the Times has once again said Arsenal have withdrawn their interest in Caicedo. People try not to cry, really, because it would have been nice to have both. Happy with one, you know. Can we get another midfielder that's a bit cheaper? Ultimately, there's confidence that negotiations will end with Arsenal paying a fee that could top 100 million once add-ons are taken into account where Declan Rice is concerned. So maybe that's in the fine print there. 90% of personal terms between Havertz and Arsenal agreed. Agent and player have accepted the proposal from Arsenal. Romano has doubled down and said, understand Kai Havertz has given the green light to Arsenal's contract bid after positive indications. No problem on personal terms. Arsenal and Chelsea are in contact. There's no chance for 75 million, but Chelsea will be flexible. Bayern are informed but are still quiet. Real Madrid have kept it moving, folks. Once again, there you have it. Apparently, Chelsea are still proposing 60 to 70 million and have communicated this via his agents. Apparently, he wants to stay in London and he's given a verbal agreement to join the Gunners, people, which I hope not just living in London and the lifestyle is the only thing stopping you. Once again, you'll be pushed to find transfer news that doesn't concern Kai Havertz, Declan Rice and Caicedo directly or indirectly with Arsenal. Partey has been linked with a move away as 2 Italian clubs allegedly are interested. Be silly to let him go. Juventus are looking at Balogun, where to rival PSG allegedly for Crystal Palace's Elise. We're ready in a bid for Cancelo. We're trying to get rid of Nicolas Pepe. We've obviously got Nelson on a new deal. Chiesa is available for 60 odd million euros, people. And again, at this point, it's the same old, same old. So in conclusion to that, people, if I just offer my notes of what I said, people, I hope Mikel Arteta has a plan, really, because, you know, 100 odd million quid on Declan Rice, 60 on Kai Havertz, while they're both Premier League proven and even though they're 24 years of age, have significant experience and areas of development, and they can actually, more so Declan Rice, add immediately to our squad. I'm not sure that makes us a lot stronger necessarily in our pursuit of trying to win a Premier League title or going as far as we can in that front and the Premier League and any other competition, really and truly. What I would say for all clubs of all deals, as we all know, it's a game of poker. It's the calm before the storm. A lot of things are going off in the back burner, but the market, as crazy as it is with, the Jude Bellingham stuff, Mbappe, McAllister, there's been so many talking points isolated to Arsenal in a way. We've got to remember, this is arguably the calm before the storm, people. The market is not in full swing yet. You got to remember, the Caicedos, the Declans, the Bellinghams, these guys were probably always going to move, Mbappe, between now and next summer, has to sort out a move. This summer, with him not allegedly signing a new deal, has accelerated things. But there's a lot of the moves you're kind of seeing are players you kind of expected to move. McAllister as well, Messi to leave, obviously PSG after how he was treated. Benzema took us by surprise. Kante as well. Mbappe stuff. So this is the calm before the storm. As I always say, I don't want to get hung up on names. I would have loved Declan Rice and Caicedo, but I guess you can't be greedy. I'd like Declan Rice, but I do think we need, if you sign Declan Rice as a 6, you need an 8, and maybe Havertz could be converted there, even though he tends to pick up the right-hand side more on the pitch and is more of a further forward player. Obviously, he's played as a false 9. I'm not too sure that that is a significant improvement in the attacking front. I still think we need a right back, a right-sided centre-back, and a left-back if Tini leaves. I still think we need 2 midfielders. Maybe bringing in Declan Rice, for next season at least, to go with Partey, you'll be the more physical presence, and maybe that gives us the following season to try and look for another number 6 on the market, people, as we look for a long-term Partey replacement or another option, people. So I hope there's a plan, because ultimately this is crazy, really. And to be fair to Arsenal, as much as I would have liked Caicedo, and I think you need to this is the market, this is the territory. If it does go to 120 million, again, the deal could be worth 120 million. It's not necessarily money being 120 million being spent on the player, really. Chelsea, as you've seen, or even Arsenal, not that we've got those players, you could offer 80 million plus a player that's, valued at 20, 30, and there you have it. But if for Caicedo it's 80 million, I would have loved for us to find the pennies to do that, not that 80 million's pennies. If it goes as high as 120 million, probably unrealistic for Arsenal to spend 200 odd on Rice, on Caicedo and Havertz, although you could argue that 60 million on Kai Havertz, get a few players out, that's money spent. 200 million, really. So it depends, but 160 million on Havertz and Rice, more so Havertz, it's going to have to work, really and truly. You could argue, if it is 80 million for Caicedo and 60 for Havertz, obviously hindsight's a wonderful thing. If Havertz is amazing for Arsenal, great. But the extra 20 million would have been well spent, really. You could argue, while we need more attackers, we don't need more attackers that are not necessarily specialists. Maybe the budget simply doesn't stretch as far as the war chest claims suggest as well, people. Obviously, even if you've got 100 million, it doesn't mean you're running 100 million to a club up front. So we'll have to see. There'll be many twists and turns for my football club and all football clubs around the world, and players and things like that. A lot of players are away on holiday. Again, a lot of players' situations might look comfortable right now. It might look like they're staying at their club, but things can change in a second. Let me know your thoughts. Comment, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Stay blessed, stay safe. I'm out.
Always that active and defending.